Okay. Thank you. So, good evening, everybody. We had a little logistics things trying to get online. We had a little bit of feedback in the room. With council members are at home, so we're trying to accommodate everybody as we try to exit. I wish we could exit this COVID portion that we're in, but it's good to see everybody. Um, Mr. Johnson, if you could pull the screen down a little bit, we won't just see your glasses. That may be helpful. Uh, we want good visuals. All right, so with that, there you go. Much better, sir. That's not me. That's Corporation Counsel Brian Johnson. He doesn't have hair. Okay. So this is going to be rough because I'm trying to talk to both, but I think I should really uh, tailor my speech to the folks in the audience, right? So good evening, everybody. Welcome back. This is I think our first public open meeting since COVID. So I thank you all for being here. As we always do, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. But before we do, I just want you guys to know that there are two exits here. There's an exit in the back. You know how to get out the building. What else? If you have a cell phone, please turn it off so we don't have any disturbances. There's not that many people in the room. But we always start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And since I'm the only council member physically in the room, I'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Where's the flag? I can't find it. Oh, well. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everybody. Oh, the flag is there. All right, so we have 5 people on our speaking list. We're going to go through that real quick. As normal, you have 4 minutes to speak. At the end of the 3rd minute, I'll give you a little warning that says your time is almost up. Then you have 1 additional minute to speak after the 3rd minute, which would conclude your speaking to 4. All right, so the first speaker we have here is Thomas Keller. I do not see him in the room. We have Charles Ferreira. Come on up, sir. We don't have a mic for you, so if you could just try to pronounce your voice. Oh, okay, good. We could go right into the computer. Excellent.
Just come right up to the podium, sir. Come right up to the podium, and you can raise the screen a little bit to your face, and you can see your face. There you go. You're right. Perfect.
Good, excellent.
Can you just see if you can hear him over the thing, please? Just check it.
Good evening. My name is Charles Ferreira. I live at 444 Tecumseh Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York. I'm here tonight asking the City Council for their help.
We can't hear him. We can't hear him.
Okay. So I've lived here for over 40 years. I'm a homeowner. I'm a taxpayer. I've worked with the city for over 20 years. I've been having issues with the comptroller, Deborah Reynolds, for the past year and a half, refusing to pay me my salary, the overtime, and pay differential. I filed 2 grievances with the union, Local 456, that went to arbitration. I won both grievances. Board of Estimates approved it. Lisa Copeland, City Council President, as well as Mayor Sean Patterson Howard, Controller, voted no. So I have the documentation here. The Law Department, Brian Johnson, I've been in touch with him. He said numerous times he's reached out to the Controller, who refuses to cut me a check for my back pay. I filed another grievance for a $1,000 sick bonus that I'm entitled to. Everyone else got it except me. I didn't call out sick at all throughout 2019. In our contract, we're entitled to a $1,000 sick bonus. So this has been going on for the past year and a half. She's constantly withholding money from me, paychecks, and I'm asking the city council for their help. I mean, this one person is like crippling me, causing a lot of financial hardship and emotional stress to me and my family, you know? I've never had to deal with this when Maureen Walker was in office. She has a personal vendetta against me, and I'm asking the city council, is there anything that can be done? You know, I have the documentation here. Brian Johnson, I spoke to him several times. He said she continues to refuse to cut me a check. If the Board of Estimates approved it, then why is she refusing to pay me? I don't get it. You know, that's all I have to say. You want the documentation or?
So, sorry, council, we're trying to work this out. All I did was explain the process of, the speakers all coming forward first. And then, we all as council will respond, at once for everybody at the same time. And of course, there is no back and forth, with the members of the public, speaking to the council. So thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, you could submit those documents, to the clerk. Mhm. Thank you. Lighting goes in and out. Kim Knox?
Yes, yes.
Good evening, my name is Kim Knotts. I live at 127 Wentworth Street,
Okay.
California, New York.
Hold on.
I'm an inspector.
Ms. Knox, Ms.
Speak
Knox,
slower.
hold on a second. Clerk, they're getting a little bit of feedback. It may be me.
And maybe she could slow down a little bit, please, President Pro Tem. We cannot hear her. We cannot hear her. President, we can't hear her. We cannot hear her.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear now.
Yes, ma'am. You can take yes, you can. Sure. So
Yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna unmute that phone number again. Try that now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Councilwoman Duarte Farquharson, can you hear Kim Knox? She's gonna begin in a second, and then we'll see if she can, if you can hear her, okay?
Councilwoman Duarte, can you hear the speaker, please? Go ahead, Ms. Knotts.
Can she speak?
No, we cannot hear her.
No.
is feeding back to us.
Is there the phone, the camera on the phone, I'm sorry, the speaker on the computer muted?
Yeah.
Council members, I think we may have a little too much technology very close to one another. We're still trying to work out the sound differences. As you can see, there's a computer with the same name as a phone. So we're trying to work out, I think that may be the problem.
Why don't you just put her?
Council members, we're going to try it one more time. Ms. Knox, move the mask so that they can see that you're speaking. That's going to be helpful. And then if you feel more comfortable, you can put it back up once you start to begin. All right, so Ms. Knox is going to start speaking. Give me the thumbs up, Council, if you hear or not. I appreciate that. Go ahead, Ms. Knox. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kim Knox.
All right, very good. Start over, go from scratch. Thank you.
We lost the sound again. We can't hear.
Would it be easy to call in?
Don't know what changed. You were hearing her and then you couldn't?
We have multiple new devices now, so I don't, we just gonna have
We just heard her a while ago again. We just heard her when she spoke just now.
is that
Hold on, William. Go, Councilwoman, hold on, Ms. Knotts, hold on. Ms. Farquharson,
Yeah.
you were saying?
Yeah, we can hear her now.
Okay, so don't speak loud, speak in a regular tone of voice, and let's see how that goes.
Can't hear her.
Go ahead, keep speaking.
I live at 127.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. It's coming through my computer, all right? So project your voice this way, and I think it'll be fine. I'm gonna leave my mic, my computer, the mic open. Okay, thank you, Ms. Knotts. Go ahead. Just do what you're doing. Go ahead.
Yeah.
127 Monroe Street, Mount Vernon, New York. I'm an employee of the city of Mount Vernon. I work with the Department of Buildings. I too have a complaint on my salary. I am 33 weeks behind in what is considered my permanent salary. On January 23rd, there is some legislation for me to take the 1-year leave of absence from my position as a bookkeeper for original position as a council inspector. So, I did that. I passed the test. I accepted the offer for a permanent position as a housing inspector starting November 18, 2019. The controller took my paperwork January 3rd, 2020 and has not paid me. She refused to pay me. It is now July. In July, I'm told that I can't have it because I'm a building inspector. I'm not a building inspector, but they have a yellow form that Dan Jones, the former commissioner, submitted for me to become a building inspector that has no signatures in a line that has 0 funds because the 2019 resolution was not done. So my now boss had to take me out of that position. That was done. Now I'm told I'm a building clerk because nobody did resolution to take me out of that. And it's my understanding that once this expired, after 366 days, I had vacated the building clerk position. I'm told that I have to sign out of that, and I had to write a letter, and I've done that. And we're still 33 weeks in, and my salary has not changed.
Thank you, Ms. Knotts.
Do you want this?
Yes. Please submit that to the clerk.
Thank you.
Mr. Ferreira, will you come back up? I think there was some information that you wanted to extend. No, you don't have to start over. Just add to what you.
My complaint is the comptroller is refusing to pay me after I won my arbitration. The board of estimates approved payment on May 19th of this year. The law department has notified her several times that she has to make payment, which she hasn't done. I went down there today to inquire about payment to find out what the status was. I've tried calling, tried making appointments via email. She refuses to respond. But when I went down there today, her secretary said she was busy, so I told her I would wait a few minutes. Hopefully, we can try to speak to the controller for a few minutes. A few minutes later, 5 police officers came in. She called the police on me to have me escorted out of the building. I wasn't irate. I was just going to ask what the status of my payment was. It's been a year and a half. I'm entitled to the money. I work for it. The police officers refusing to leave her office. I just wanted to speak to her for a few minutes. I have a right to inquire how my pay the controller, right? So I don't understand what that was about, you know? I went to HR today and filed a complaint against her for harassment, but she's constantly doing this to me. It's harassment, you know?
Thank you, sir. Jeff Monroe?
Yes, am I audible?
Yes.
Why? Clerk, are we muting? Who's
He's on the phone.
the number that's on the very bottom on your screen? Is-
I'll be listening from a queue.
I'm hearing Mr. Goodsight through, I'm hearing Mr. Monroe through the computer. I think that bottom number,
Yeah, we
The
can hear him.
914667 number is mine. Am I able to go?
Sir Clerk, on the screen, the pictures, that very bottom number?
You're talking about here?
Yes,
Not here.
no, on your, in the middle.
This one right here.
Yes,
This. You want me to mute this first?
yes.
Okay.
There's no calling in for public speaking. The public speakers are supposed to be here.
But have we not been doing that because we did public speaking on the computer last meeting?
And this meeting, we discussed that the intent.
Because the
was-
governor still had the, oh, I'm out of order. Sorry.
So I'm not understanding how Mr. Monroe has the direct number to get into our meeting.
You have to come
That's
in
not
person.
how this works. So I'm going to call again the names on the list that are here in council chambers. Mr. Keller, and I don't see Mr. Monroe. So at the next meeting, if Mr. Monroe wants to schedule with the clerk, then he can do that. But,
How did we communicate that to the community?
well, how did he get the call-in number to our meeting?
Because it's public. It's a public call-in number.
The call-in number is for us. And when we reopened, we're in phase 3. You people have to come in person. Speakers have to come in person. They don't have the opportunity. We let speakers who came to our committee meeting call in, but we were still under edict by the governor. That governor, that's up. If I wasn't under doctor's orders, I'd be in City Hall, not at home. We're supposed to be in the building now. There's nothing keeping us from being in the building.
Okay,
So wait. Just a moment. How do we practice social distancing in that room?
it's a
How do we
large
do
room.
that?
It's a large room. We have constituents.
No, I
here.
mean within our body.
6 feet, masks. There are people here that are socially distancing clearly. So
No, I'm
that's the
I'm not
intent.
talking about the public. I'm talking about the council.
The galley can easily be separate. We can all separate in the galley effectively.
As well as in the
Enough room.
memorial room where we've been hosting the committee meetings. You can distance 6 feet apart in the memorial room. It doesn't have to be in the council committee room, which is, the paint is falling anyway.
So at this stage, we're going to ask for comments from the council to the speakers. And Mr. Clerk, I'm not sure how the council can speak to the speakers in the room. I don't know if they're going to be able to be heard. Is there a way we can get that to work?
The speaker, I think everyone can come off mute and be heard.
I'm going to ask that Councilwoman Duarte lead with the council's response. And we're going to have to test it out to see if the people in the audience here can hear you correctly. So just give us a moment so we can get that worked out. So Mr. Clerk, you're going to turn your volume up. Okay, and I'm going to put my mute on.
Can you hear me? Okay, so, all right, so if I understand correctly, of all the speakers, we only had 2. Is that correct? We had Charles Ferreira and Ms. Kim Knotts.
Right.
And both very similar
very similar situations in terms of legislation authorizing certain changes in their positions and those not being honored, as well as their salaries, any overtimes or differential pay that was due for the work that they performed. This is an ongoing challenge. I know these are not only the only two situations that we have like this. And I would look to actually Corporation Counsel for what our options and next steps may be, especially since I know that there are a number of labor actions against the comptroller. And but it's unfortunate that you are performing the work, you're working for the city, you are performing your service, and you should be getting paid for the work that you do. And I'm sorry that this is affecting your livelihood. It's unfortunate that the city comptroller has taken these actions in this position in this way. And so I look forward to working with the rest of the council and Corporation Counsel as to what actions, legislative actions or additional actions the council can take to help remedy this situation. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Councilwoman Farquharson?
Thank you, President Pro Tem. Good evening to everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, and I echo the sentiments expressed by Councilwoman Duarte. I know Mr. Ferrara has been going through this for a while. I have reached out myself to the Comptroller's office on his behalf, and it's unfortunate that this issue is not resolved yet. And I think the same thing for Ms. Knox. So, short of going down there to, draft the payments ourselves, I don't know what other options is left legislatively to this body. I think the actions need to be elevated, and I don't know what that looks like. So I agree that we probably need some kind of guidance from Corporation Counsel as to how we proceed or how the employees proceed. I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you for serving our community and for working hard every day in your positions. That concludes my comments, President Pro Tem.
Thank you.
If you want to hear it.
Council President Copeland? Okay, thank you.
We can't hear you, President Pro Tem.
You're muted, Mark.
At this time? So if you're, William, you may want to mute.
Who's that?
There's no talking at this time, right? We already have audio problems here. And even when we're not, I'm just saying, even when we're not through the Zoom process, the acoustics in this room, we can pick up every single sound that you have. So I'm just going to ask you that when somebody from the council is speaking on Zoom or somebody's at the mic, that nobody is speaking in the audience. If you have to have a conversation, please just step outside. For the employees, the council, I know I feel for you. The council feels for you. The controller is an elected position. She was basically hired by the taxpayers of this city. And it's unfortunate that we have to wait until she's not elected to that office to move forward. I can tell you that everything that we think we can do, we've tried to do to remedy not only your personal salaries, but all the other mishaps that she's handling down in that office. We're extremely frustrated. And I don't know what more we can do as legislators. So what's important though, is that you come to the council and put these things on the record, right? Because when we go and tell people these things are happening, people look at us like we're making it up. And it's not funny. We're not making it up. We want these things resolved. It's this very serious situation. And when it's a lightweight issue that can be spread across, 10,000 people is one thing. But when it's happening to people individually, personally, it's a much bigger impact to you and your family. And it's disturbing to me that we have this going on and there's nothing more that we can do. The mayor is here, and I know that we've all looked into this situation and tried to remedy it. Councilwoman Farquharson mentioned that she went down and personally spoke to her. We've had other people that we felt could get through to her, and it worked for a period of time, but then the train runs off the rails. So the council hears you and we know, and we wish there was more that we can do. So I'm apologizing for the city, for you, because we know that you guys do good work. We see you, we know the work that you perform, and I'm sure there's other people that have these conditions that are not strong enough or have enough energy to come to the council to speak on the record. But I'm going to ask that if you know other people that have this instance, we ask them to come so they can put it on the record. This isn't a matter of the council not liking somebody. This is really impacting on people's lives. So I know Corporation Council has some things to say because we have to be careful on how things move from here. So Councilman, Corporation Council Johnson, if you wouldn't mind going to the mic, or if you're on Zoom here, you can do it right. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Can you hear me from where?
He's muted.
Okay, so now I'm unmuted and you can hear me? Okay, so what?
We can't hear him.
You can't
No.
hear me? Can you hear me now?
Go closer to maybe closer to the phone.
This is your mic. Can you hear me better now?
How about
Yeah,
now?
much
Yes.
better.
Okay, good.
Much better.
Sit at your desk, but talk clearly. You could sit there and just talk.
Okay. So first I just want to say it's highly unusual for a corporation council to comment publicly on legal matters. However, what Mr. Ferrer said is a matter of public record. I can absolutely confirm what he said. For some reason, the comptroller is refusing, despite an arbitration award, despite it being passed by the Board of Estimate, she's refusing to pay, making a false narrative that she never received it. We sent the information to her office, she rejected it because she did not like the commentary in the memo, and she's refusing to pay. The arbitration award was not favorable to her, not paying him, so she's not paying the arbitrator either. He's owed $14,000. Now, the reason why this is so profound is I have made numerous overtures to work with the comptroller for these kinds of out of title kinds of situations. She's rejected the assistance of the Corporation Counsel's office repeatedly and has engaged in obtaining, upon information and belief, I'll use those terms, the assistance of an independent counsel, and refuses to meet with me and only deals with labor counsel. So to completely understand the problem is there's a situation that should be handled internally that the comptroller's office has refused to engage the Corporation Counsel's office. So we have to engage the services of labor counsel to get to an arbitration, which costs $14,000 in this one instance. There's a number of cases exactly like Mr. Ferrera's that are forthcoming. So I urged the comptroller as recently as today, let's meet. Let's try to solve this stuff internally. Elected officials are expected to abide by their oath and work within the system as designed. The question came up as, what is the legislative response? A couple of weeks ago, I asked this council to adopt a resolution to put some procedures in place for hiring independent counsel. I congratulate you on the first step. Hopefully, the comptroller will honor that and give the corporation counsel office the opportunity to help work through these issues. So we don't have to spend thousands of dollars only to get a result that is not favorable to the city. And we have to pay interest and penalties, and then she still refuses to pay. And we have people who inquire about their pay being escorted out of the building by the police. This is insane. In addition, I have asked no less than 10 times, why isn't the comptroller honoring the 2020 salary resolutions? I asked the question of her and her payroll administrator. Neither has given me a response. I asked them to give me a legitimate business reason why you are not honoring the duly adopted Board of Estimates salary resolutions, and she has not responded. And that's problematic. So all the employees that were entitled to an increase or any pay different from 2019 are not being paid properly.
Thank you, Corporation Counsel. The City Council also has requested items from the controller, and she has not responded. Basic information as to how much money we have in the bank accounts, how much certain departments have spent through the year, basic transactions. We're discussing the possible sale of the old YMCA building. We would like to know how much we've paid in interest for that building for the last few years, and what is the forward estimated interest that we will be paying if we don't sell that building. These are pieces of information that would be helpful for us to make decisions that benefit the taxpayers and the residents of the city of Mount Vernon. So having someone who isn't paying staff accordingly, hasn't accepted the legislation from not only the city council, but also from the Board of Estimate, right? If she's not doing these things, what is our recourse, right? And unfortunately, the real recourse is that we need to, elections matter, and we have to be careful with who we elect to these very critical positions. That's where we are. So again, I say the council feels your pain, and we're sorry that it's so personally directed at individuals. It makes no sense to me. But we need to make sure that we hire a better lead financial person for our city. With that, I think we need to, we're not going to take a recess as we normally do. We're going to go right into our legislative session.
Permission to speak?
I'm sorry, sir, we've already gone through our cycle of responses. So we ask you to come back at our next council meeting, and we're going to have them public unless the orders are to close again, like we had before. So with that, we're going to take a roll call.
So why did you allow a public process to speak when you weren't going to honor it?
Sir, you're out of order.
I'm out of order, so are you. Discretion is the better part of valor. And your public notice that meetings to be conducted in building and online. And the public notice clearly gives the number to call in. So the discretion to dishonor that offer is in fact making you out of order because you're anti-democratic, President Pro Tem.
So,
well,
are we
I'm
going
glad
to
you
our
feel that way. We're going to ask you now to sit down.
Don't be patronizing. I'm a citizen. I'm a member of this community. I'm a tax-paying member of this community. and a servant to this community. And I have exercised my right, just like everyone else, to speak to the power that governs my actual community. And I am part of that community, and you work for me.
Are you
You
done?
take my tax dollars to serve us. Why can I not
Actually,
have
we
4
don't collect
minutes
your tax
as
dollars.
allocated in the agenda?
Is there a
Just
police
because you feel
officer
like you
there?
want to go by the book. In the middle of a global pandemic, you want to suddenly go by the book. You have almost all of a sudden you have a bunch of rules you want to follow.
Are you done?
No, I'm not done. And I'll tell you what, since you're listening, and since the actual council's listening, since they're here, I'm gonna take my own prerogative, unless you actually have a better idea, sir, on how to govern the democracy. Okay, your public notice to actually welcome speakers, I followed to the letter.
Mr.
And I
Monroe.
and I called in a minute early.
Mr.
When
Monroe.
I got on the phone,
Mr. Monroe.
I realized that you didn't have the technical.
Mr. Monroe.
You didn't have the technical
Mr.
wherewithal
Monroe.
to actually manipulate the material. And it occurred to me
Mr.
that
Monroe.
if you actually had heeded
Mr.
the
Monroe.
advisement that I made several years ago to properly put,
Sir.
excuse me, sir,
Sir.
am I under arrest? Am I under arrest? Am I under arrest? Am I under arrest?
Listen.
They have something he has to follow, he's asking you, right?
Am I under arrest, sir? I should not be handling this without under arrest.
Right now, you're not under arrest, right? But
If I'm not being detained, I'm a human being. Officer, I understand your obligation, but if I'm not being detained, I'd like to be unhandled. I'm not a threat to anybody. I understand that, but I'd like to be unhandled. I'd like to be unhandled immediately. Thank you.
You have to do the legislative referrals before the roll call, Councilman Griffith.
When you're ready.
You have to do the
refer-
legislative,
roll
you have to
call.
do the referrals before the roll call.
You heard?
Referrals before the roll call.
I said, when you're ready, Mr. Clerk.
I heard, thank you.
Thank
Heard
you.
you, sir. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Councilwoman Duarte.
No, it's no roll call now. You do the
Can you hear me,
referrals,
Councilwoman
the
Duarte?
referrals, then the roll call.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll do the
For the
referral.
10th time.
Thank you.
I'm sick and I'm ready to, and y'all are, and I didn't take any meds because I wanted to be lucid.
Take it easy. Roll call. I'm sorry.
Uh,
We're gonna do our referrals now.
You're
Thank you.
the longest serving. You don't know what happens at the meetings?
Okay, if I may, legislation and public works. Okay, I have items. I have item number 4 is called for. Item number 6 is called for. Items 7, 9, and 10 are for information. Item 17 is for information. Item 17A is on the agenda as number 5. Item number 21 is for information. And I have a couple of add-ons. Add-on number 1, which is enumerated number 1 on the agenda, is regarding the law department seeking security service. And items add-on number 2 is enumerated number 2 on the agenda, and that's an amendment to an IMA with the New York State DOT. And add-on number 3, enumerated number 3 on the agenda is an ordinance requesting for re-advertisement of a bid for emergency sewer repairs. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Public safety and codes.
Human resources. Why don't I take over from here? I'll take this part on. Human resources.
Okay, how's that gonna work when Councilman Thompson is not here yet? That's why I'm calling public safety and codes.
Oh, wow.
All right, there we go.
Put that in the chat.
Public safety and codes, please.
President Pro Temp and Madam President. So I have item number 1 is called for. Item number 2 is called for. Item number 1 is actually on the agenda. sorry. Item number 2 is called for. Item number 8, 11, 15, and 16 are called for. Item number 18 is for information. As a matter of fact, I'm going to call for that because there's more research that needs to be done, and I had a discussion with my co-chair. So I'm going to call for that. Item number 20 is called for. Item 31 is called for. Item 32 is called for. Item number 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, and 39 are all for information. That concludes my referral, President Pro.
Thank you, Councilwoman. The one that you changed, was that on number 18?
Item number 18, that is correct.
So you're calling for that?
Yes, yes, President Pro Tem.
Okay, thank you.
Point of clarification,
Sure, yes.
are there 2 add-ons for public safety and codes?
I don't think so, because the animal shelter was actually on the agenda, so that's not an add-on. And oh yeah, the other 2 items hold on, let me look at the agenda. The agenda is scanned in sideways, which makes it really difficult to read. That's LPW.
Councilwoman, may I suggest you refer to the tally sheet? That may give you a better, quicker recall.
Okay, the tally sheet you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is it labeled tally sheet?
Or you can go back to the referral packet.
That's what I was doing.
Thank you.
So I know yesterday they sent rendered gears, external system searching.
Yep. Would you like me to read your referrals, ma'am?
Okay, no, not at all. Okay, so there's an add-on enumerated as item number 12, and there's a second add-on enumerated as item number 11 for Deputy Commissioner and for the iRecord system. That concludes my referral.
Thank you. Councilman Thompson hasn't come on yet. I'm going to read his referrals. Items 22, 23, 24, and 25 are for information. Items 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30 are on the agenda, enumerated as 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That concludes human resources. Finance and planning, item number 3 has been held. Items 5, 12, 13, 14, 19, and 40 are for information. There was an add-on from the last meeting that is on the agenda that is enumerated as number 14. That concludes the report for finance and planning. With that, I ask for a roll call.
Councilwoman Duarte?
Present and at home.
Thank you. Councilwoman Farquharson?
Present and at home.
Thank you. Councilman Griffith?
Present at City Hall.
Councilman Thompson? And Council President Copeland?
Present and unmedicated at home.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Legislation and Public Works.
Thank you. Item number 1, I have an ordinance authorizing the law department to enter into an agreement with Space Age Alarms, Inc. So
Councilman Duarte. Could just repeat that for us, please.
Turn down
Okay.
your mic. Somebody should turn down their mic.
Okay, so I have item number 1, an ordinance authorizing the law department to enter into an agreement with Space Age Alarms, Inc. So moved.
Second.
On the question, roll call.
Councilwoman Duarte,
Aye.
Councilwoman Farkason,
Aye.
Councilman Griffith,
Aye.
Council President Copeland.
Oh, aye.
Thank you.
Item number 2, I have an ordinance amending resolution number 4 adopted June 24th, 2020, entitled a resolution granting the State of New York authority to perform the adjustment for the city of Mount Vernon and agreeing to maintain facilities adjusted via the state-led contract for the Lincoln Avenue Bridge / Hutchinson Parkway. So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second, I'm sorry.
Thank you. My apologies, second.
On the question,
On the question, it's just more a comment. I just want to note that the amendment is a technical amendment to the size of the pipe. It was, I think, noted as 12 inches and it's actually, or 16 inches and it's 12 to 20 inches. So it's just a technical adjustment or amendment to the legislation.
President Pro Tem, if I may.
yes.
Yeah, I must register my displeasure at the cutting down of the trees related to this project. I understand, you see bridge repairs, if not replacement, done in other places, and you don't see this massacre of trees. And it's really a violent act against our community, even if it's on, state land or whatever. But I think the cutting down of those trees was just really a travesty and might have been avoided. And I must register my displeasure. Thank you, President Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Turn down your volume for me. What I was going to say is that, yes, the tearing down of the trees by the Lincoln Avenue bridge going over the Hutchinson River Parkway was quite devastating, and it came on rather swiftly. When DOT redid the 3rd Avenue Bridge, we had much more warning that that's what they were going to do. And we were able to have discussions with them about the impact of not only the trees, but of the traffic and of the rerouting, where the bridge was going to go, how it was going to affect the river, and how it's going to affect the pathways. We discussed things even down to what they were going to do with the stonework for the 3rd Avenue Bridge. And they mentioned to us at the end of that discussion that we had, I believe it was here, that the next bridge that they needed to do was the Lincoln Avenue Bridge. And we knew it was going to be a very critical traffic problem. We were going to lose that historic brickwork design that's over the bridge. We already know that that intersection is plagued with traffic problems at 5:30 or so. So I wish that DOT gave us the opportunity to be able to discuss in more detail, not only the bridge, but also to define all of the sewer lines that are underneath that bridge, the river walk that should be restored, the trees being removed, so that the community would have an understanding what the replanting was going to be. And they did not do that. I'm hoping that for traffic's sake, that when they replace this bridge, they do the replacement like they did on Boston Road across the Hutchinson River Parkway, where they literally replaced the bridge in a weekend, right? So Third Street wasn't as traffic ridden as the Lincoln Avenue Bridge or Boston Road, but I'm hoping that they do it quite swiftly. So I agree with you, Councilwoman Farkason, the swift cutting of the trees looked like they slipped it and did it really quick. I honestly don't know if they were going to be able to preserve any of those trees, but not having the discussion with us was quite insulting, I feel.
Yeah.
And the we do know that the rerouting of the sewer lines is critical. And when they built that bridge, it was the original 1 mile of the Hutchinson River Parkway. So all the historic elements that were in the original mile of the entire Hutchinson River Parkway were pretty much gone. But they just don't build bridges like those beautiful stone bridges like we have anymore. And believe you me, I tried to get them to keep some historic elements of it and even repurpose some of those bricks and stones. So this one came up really fast. When people told me that those trees were being cleared, I was quite shocked because I thought we were going to have more time to plan for it and discuss it with the community and maybe have some more input as to what was going on. So with COVID, I think the state is just trying to get stuff done really fast. You see on the Bronx River Parkway, they're doing
Not
a lot of work.
acceptable.
This is an opportunity for them to get it done smoothly. But we had some really nice trees in there. And quite honestly, they weren't taking care of the trees that were in there, but they had some very healthy trees on that site. And yes, it's painful to see.
President Pro Tem, if I may, I think that at this point that the DOT needs to come before the council. I think that it is disrespectful to our community that they would even consider doing what they have done. I drive in Westchester County all the time, and there are bridges, stone bridges all over the place that are being restored and repaired and maintained. And the fact that they chose to exact this in our community, I think, says something. But I do think that the DOT needs to come before this council and explain their actions, and so that it can be registered with them that this did not go unnoticed and that that's not what we expect. I think we have to be really firm in this. We should not just roll over and play dead. Thank you.
Are there any other comments on this? Hearing none, roll call. Oh, Councilwoman Duarte.
Sorry, I just wanted to affirm what you had said earlier, because the 3rd Street Bridge, they actually did, you're right, they came in, they had a presentation, and they were very forthcoming with information, even making themselves very accessible in terms of their on-site supervision, and that did not happen this time, unfortunately. But I myself will reach out to them through, I believe, our engineering or our DPW must be on these conversations. So I will reach out to them.
I think it's Curtis Woods. It's Curtis Woods. He used to work for them, so he has to connect.
And I'll ask him to invite them to speak with us.
I can say, and thank you, Councilwoman Duarte. I do remember that once they did start working on the 3rd Street Bridge, some of the issues that we had with our sewer lines were remedied when they did that bridge. So we do know that they saved the city of Mount Vernon through the coordination of the city of Mount Vernon with those sewer lines. Remember, we had a whole bunch of inflow of sewer lines being mixed into the river. A lot of that was remedied when they did the 3rd Avenue Bridge. So yes, the discussion should have been had, and it's not only the engineers, it's also the environmentalists, the historic aspect of it. It was better. It was much better done the last time. So with that, if there's no other comments, I'd like to go to roll call. Thank you.
And number 2, Councilwoman Duarte, how say you?
Aye.
Councilwoman Farquharson?
No.
Councilman Griffith?
Aye.
Council President Copeland?
Aye.
I'm sorry, say again, please.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 3, I have an ordinance approving specifications and requesting re-advertising for bids for equipment rental and sewer repairs. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Roll call.
Councilwoman Duarte?
Aye.
Councilwoman Farquharson,
Aye.
Councilman Griffith,
Aye.
and Council President Copeland.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item number 4, I have an ordinance extending a memorandum of understanding between the City of Mount Vernon and 20 South 2nd Square CMV LLC for 1 year. So moved.
Is there a second? Councilwoman Farquharson, I didn't hear a second.
That's correct. You didn't hear a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilwoman Copeland. On the question? Councilwoman Duarte?
On the question, so I was noticing that there isn't a referral letter that accompanies this request. It wasn't in the referral packet. I also note that the ordinance itself is truncated. It's not doesn't have the same language as previous MOU extensions. And you know, that's basically it. This was, I thought, rushed.
I'm sure it's the same MOU that we've had in the last meeting. This is just an extension that was there before. Is there any doubt, Councilwoman Duarte?
The referral came from the company. The request came from the company for the extension back in May. As I said at one meeting prior, the last meeting, it was not picked up on. It was from May 26th because it expired at the end of June. And that's where the referral came from for this extension, as it has come from all the MOUs from the company who's requesting it.
I've gone back to look at the ordinances we've adopted in the past, and there's a referral letter always from a city official to the council requesting the extension.
Well, you actually, oh, never mind. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let my pain get the best of me. I'm going to miss that one. And let's just vote, Councilman. Let's just vote. Unless Corp Council had something.
I have nothing.
Councilwoman Duarte, it's not a necessity for there to be a referral. I mean, it's from the council. It's been moved. So is there an issue with there just not being a letter?
I don't understand why it's different from past practice.
Let's just vote. We know who doesn't support it. Let's just vote. Let's go on. I'm over an hour here and I'm 2 hours past taking my meds. Let's get through this agenda, please.
Roll call.
And then we could beat up Thompson for not showing up. Or having a situation at home. I don't know what the situation is. I shouldn't say that.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Duarte,
I abstain.
Councilwoman Farquharson,
No.
Councilman Griffith,
Aye.
and Council President Copeland.
Aye, and there's supposed to be a reason for the abstention for the record.
For the record, my reason for abstention is, I think, similar to what it was the last meeting. And I just don't, I think it was rushed and this wasn't the same as a past practice. So there's no referral letter. To me, it just looks like it was rushed.
It's human resources. I'm going with Council.
I think I still have one more item.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, please.
Item number 5, I have an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with TCC Media. So moved.
Councilwoman Copeland, I think I need a second.
I'm still the president, but I will give you a second, pro tem.
On the question?
I have a question or two. So if I may, President Pro Tem?
Council President? Yes, you may.
Thank you. So I note that there are proposals for public relations consulting in Peekskill, and there was one in New Rochelle, and those all went out to bid. And I'm wondering what the difference is for us. In addition, I note that in those scope of work that was presented, it does not make reference to any specific office, but the scope of work makes reference to the city as a whole. And I'm wondering why the difference and why the reference to a specific office. And is the public relations consultant just for the specific office? The other thing is that I'm wondering about the expenditure of this kind of money at this time. I checked also with Greenberg, and they don't have a consulting, So I was just checking around to see what's going on. And I think the expenditure of $24,000 or a maximum of $24,000, is not prudent.
As the item is a professional contract, it does not have to be bid. The mayor's office has a budget of $60,000 within their budget. And different cities run different ways. The city of New Rochelle, the city of Peekskill, they have city managers. They don't have full-time mayors. The city of Greenberg has a supervisor who sits as part of the council. There's different ways of structure for governments, and each department, like we allow them to spend their money the way they want, the mayor's office has that ability too. That's my comment on it.
Councilwoman,
Isn't the mayor there? Oh.
Councilwoman Duarte? Any comments?
I'll make only one comment. I do want to note that the city this year has done something differently, which is, I think, in a step in a positive direction, which is having a communications team. And I know that it's a young communications team, but nevertheless, they should have more support and the ability to support their talent development. And if they're not really providing the media relations needed, I would prefer that this type of expenditure be more invested in the talent development, or even in more of a director to help direct them appropriately to serve the city as a whole. So that's my comment.
The mayor is here. We're going to ask her to speak.
The city of Mount Vernon, the past several years, has gone through a public relations nightmare. Our public media presentation has been more like a three-ring circus with lots of arguing. The council is needed a press person. The mayor's office, the city is needed a press person. We are working very hard to change the public image of our city, where we have an opportunity to write our narrative. Our media partners.
I'm sorry, we can't really hear the mayor.
Every year says that they don't want to necessarily.
Hold on, Madam.
Mayor is not really clear. Maybe if she just steps a little to the right so that she's closer to your microphone.
I'm going to take my mic off mute, and then Deputy Clerk, if you could lower that volume, I think it may pick up.
Which volume are we talking about?
Turn down your volume for me. Yes, please. And then, Madam Mayor, if you could just project your voice, because I think it's going to come, your voice is going to come to here.
Okay, can you hear me, Councilwoman Ferguson?
Good.
Okay, great. For the past few years, Mount Vernon has fallen victim to very bad media coverage The infighting politically, constant negative stories has left us with a very bad public image. We've spoken for years about having a professional communication specialist help not only the office of the mayor and our different departments, but the city council as well. Yes, for the first time, we are funding a communications team. And that communications team is focused on the public access and public hearing of our meetings, our social media websites, our city website, also using public access, doing marketing and branding for the city, so it can be consistent throughout the city. No, the city of Peekskill does not have a consultant, but the city of Yonkers has a full-time communications specialist. Instead of investing almost $100,000 in a communications specialist and someone to work outside the office of the mayor to provide communications and build relationships with media, we're only asking for a consultant. A consultant actually saves us twice the amount of money because they're only working part-time. We're not paying retirement, medical, and other fringe benefits. So this is a great cost savings to the city. We need help with media relations. I can tell you, as of tomorrow, the city of Mount Vernon is one of 40 communities in the nation that is entering into the Harvard Bloomberg Cities Leadership Program to help with the recovery of COVID, socially and economically. We have an opportunity to also enter about another 5 to 7 cohorts of leadership programming with Harvard. When we're dealing nationwide with police brutality, and we have police brutality cases here in Mount Vernon that are on trial right now, other officers that are suspended, it needs to be professional communications that is writing the narrative. When we're dealing with a hospital that is in the process of closing, we must engage our media partners to help us write the narrative around keeping our hospital open. We cannot continue to be haphazard about the way we communicate with the public and the way we develop relationships with the media. We must become much more sophisticated and at a cost of $24,000 as opposed to hiring a full-time media relations specialist to work outside of the mayor's office. I can't see why there was hesitation around doing that. I don't think there is a resident in Mount Vernon that would say that they are pleased the way we have been portrayed in the media. I don't think there is a resident in Mount Vernon that says that Mount Vernon has had clear and consistent messaging and a publicly frontward-facing narrative. And this is our opportunity to do it, and I hope the council can support this legislation tonight. There's too much at stake. We have an opportunity, we have statewide and national issues that we have to show up in a professional way and not in a way that demonstrates that we only know how to be political bunglers. We have to change the narrative for our community. So I hope that you will pass this. It is a budgeted item. We have $60,000 in our budget in the Office of the Mayor for consulting services. And year to date, we have not asked for reimbursement of one dime for any expense in the mayor's office outside of salaries. And just as the council has their own budget and you have the opportunity to spend it as you feel it will benefit the city, I ask that you provide my office with the same courtesy to allow us to spend it in a way that we feel will benefit the residents and the taxpayers of Mount Vernon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think we're ready for a roll call. Are we ready for a roll call, Deputy Clerk?
Councilwoman Duarte. I'm sorry, Councilwoman Duarte, can you hear me?
I didn't hear.
Councilwoman Duarte, can you hear me now? I'm resonating. Can you hear me?
I didn't hear.
Can you hear me? How about now, Councilwoman Duarte?
No.
I think, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Can you?
I don't know
can
what, I don't know what
anyone hear me at
happened.
all?
I don't know what happened. My audio
anyone-
came back.
I'm coming through Facebook. Someone's 10-second delay just worked. So, Councilwoman Duarte, can you hear me now?
I got you now. I don't know what happened, but your audio is back.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, Councilwoman Farquharson. I'm sorry, Councilwoman Duarte, how say you?
No.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, Councilwoman Farquharson, how say you?
No.
Hey, Councilman Griffith.
Aye.
Councilman Thompson, welcome.
Thank
I'll
you.
say so.
Aye. Aye.
And Council President Copeland.
Aye.
Thank you, folks.
Turn your,
Just a second, just give me a second, thank you.
Councilman Thompson, is it okay if I read your legislation in?
Well, you can. I just downloaded it so I can read it now.
Okay, excellent, if you will.
I was having technical.
You can't hear.
1 second.
Please stop.
Hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I have an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Westchester County Department of Senior Programs and Services. So move.
Second. A question? Roll call.
Councilwoman Duarte?
Aye.
I'm sorry, say again, please.
Aye.
Thank you. Councilwoman Farquharson?
Aye.
Councilman Griffith?
Aye.
Councilman Thompson?
Aye.
Council President Copeland?
Aye.
Thank you, ma'am.
I have an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Sport Tech Construction Corp., a division of Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program. So move.
Second.
Second.
On the question?
Yeah, question. I may.
Councilwoman Duarte?
Yeah, I asked this during the committee to Corporation Counsel, and I don't know if there's an answer. Since this was a contractor that was identified through a cooperative purchasing program, there wasn't any, scope of work or any other documentation backing it up. And in this case, what are the document requirements, since it's not through a competitive bidding process, it's through a cooperative purchasing process?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So how do you know what the scope is?
So typically, let me just back up. Normally, if we were to engage a contractor to perform the repairs for playgrounds, especially at the amounts that appear to be in the legislation, it would have gone to a competitive bidding process. However, in this case, they have selected this contractor through a cooperative purchasing program, which is fine. But this is the first time we're seeing this. So I guess my question is, what documentation should be accompanying this request or this legislation? Because normally we would see a bid spec, we would see a scope of work.
I don't know if that's a legal question, because you're legally able to get it.
We can't hear Councilman Thompson or whomever is speaking.
Come off mute, please.
So go ahead now.
Okay, I'm not sure that's a legal question. I did go down to recreation today and ask them to provide the council with more information. Unfortunately, due to the shortness of time, I didn't have time to follow up. It would be my expectation that people will have questions about that, be able to do that. Because I don't really consider this to be a legal question. I do know that Sport Tech has some history. They work on our playgrounds. That was some information I was able to do. So they have a history of working with the city. That's all we have to work now.
Are there any other questions?
Yes, President Pro Temp, if I may.
Go ahead.
I'm wondering if some consideration would be given to holding this legislation until we get some scope, just to understand exactly what's going to be done, because we don't know what's going to be done. There's nothing here that tells us what does repair mean.
Have you not been to our parks? Did you, I mean, I don't understand. Are you saying that we don't need repairs?
No, no.
So, the only thing.
I'm sorry, I'm saying, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, I was just saying, how do we know what will be done and when it is complete if we don't have a scope that can be referred to? So all I'm asking for is for a defined scope to be established, so at least the council knows as fiduciary agents exactly what will be done. Because yes, you're right, our parks do need to be repaired, and everybody, I think, is supportive of this legislation. We just want to be diligent in execution of our duties to make sure we fully understand what's going to be completed. Thank you.
Well, the only thing I could offer is there are 4 playgrounds listed here, and the amount seems to be in the budget is $24,700 for 4 playgrounds. You're not getting much in by way of repairs, probably just routine maintenance, so we can open up the playgrounds during this time. Right. The chief of staff is in the room, and he's not on mic, and he's agreeing with me. So this is probably just, I mean, the amount is so low, $24,700 for 4 playgrounds. You can't be doing much. So it's probably just routine maintenance so we can open up the playground.
Is there any other question from the council on this item? I think we're, you know, this is a relatively small item for 4 parks. I don't know if it's even worth the hold, especially when if the parks are in need of repairs. We're halfway through the summer. I would think that these need to be done, especially now that kids are able to go out after COVID. Is it worth even holding? Council?
Absolutely not. I would say this needs to be pushed through because the kids do need a place to play. We need to revitalize our parks so they can go outside. And that's one of their only safe spaces. So for us to hold up this process would be foolish on our behalf.
If I
But
may,
like I always say, I'm just 1 out of 5.
all right. If I may, President Pro Temp.
Well, and just also, I have to say, we don't have another scheduled meeting until August. So, you know, I don't know if this one is really worth holding for such a low amount for us to verify what, patching of some asphalt or some protective mats. I'm not sure exactly why we're holding it.
May I, President Pro Temp, may I just say that we have called special meetings for less important things than our children, I feel. And I'm just going to say that for me, I need to know what is going to be done. I would like to know what is going to be done. It's you know, it's all well and good that it's only 27,900, but it's not about the money. It's about the work that is to be done. We need to understand fully what that work is. And so you know, it's not every one of us, I'm sure, is committed to having the children have safe spaces and healthy spaces in which to play, particularly during this pandemic. And that is why it behooves us to ensure that, yeah, they're not just going to throw some cement and then move on.
Okay, while we're speaking on what behooves us at the present moment, we have to understand that these are 4 parks being dealt with. And also in these 4 parks, we're making sure that the grounds are leveled. This is what is being taken care of. So the asphalt that's on the grounds, they will be leveled out and repaired in all 4 of these parks to make sure that it's a safe place for our children to play in. That means it won't be a trip hazard. They won't be in there with deteriorating grounds under them. This is what is taking place in these parks. Okay.
President Pro Temp, if I may. So
Let's
Councilman
call a
Thompson,
vote. I mean,
No,
it's
what's
4
your,
times on the same issue. Let's
yeah,
move on.
but
Let's
yeah,
vote
but
on
I
this.
have one more thing to say. I'm just gonna say that Councilman.
roll call, mute them, roll call,
I do have a question. I just want to request,
roll
if,
call.
I don't object to voting on this at this time. However, if we can get some
I said roll
documentation
call.
from the Recreation
Roll
Department
Councilwoman
backing up the
Duarte.
repairs, that would be helpful.
This is not a democratic process, President Pro Tem.
It is.
You
I have
two,
3
you're
votes on
acting
the
like a
committee.
bully.
Roll call.
You're
But
acting like a bully.
if I call for the vote, then the vote call. That's the rules of order. Call. You spoke on the issue 4
Madam
times.
President, you are
Call
not
for the vote.
presiding. You are not presiding, Madam President. The Pro Temp is.
Yes. As a member, I can call for the vote, and I called for the vote. Call the clerk, the roll.
Muted.
You're muted.
You are muted.
Councilwoman Duarte, how say you, ma'am?
Aye.
Councilwoman Farquharson?
Councilwoman Farquharson, recalling the vote.
I will help
I'm
you.
abstaining. I'm
A reason for your abstention, please.
you're not in charge.
Well,
Reason
you know
for your
you're supposed to
abstention,
follow that
please?
with your abstention.
Yeah, you're not in charge.
I'm just trying to remind you that when you abstain, you're
So
supposed to
give me an
follow I
opportunity. You
abstain
jumped
before.
right in my mouth as soon as I started speaking. Give me an opportunity to do what I do. I know what the process is.
Thank you, ma'am. May I have your reason for abstention, please?
Thank you very much, Deputy Clerk. So my reason for abstention is that it is not clear what the scope is. Clearly, the chairperson is not able to explain to this body exactly what is going to be done as the scope of work. Thank you.
Councilman Griffith?
Aye.
Councilman Thompson?
Aye.
Council President Copeland?
Aye.
Thank you.
Let me get back to my page, please. I have an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with 4 point standard DBA Cool Nerd. So move.
Second, on the question? Roll call.
Councilman.
If I may.
I'm sorry, I said roll call.
Councilwoman Duarte?
Aye.
Councilwoman Farquharson?
Myself.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
I'm recusing myself from voting on this item.
And your reason for recusal, ma'am, is that equal to an abstention? I'm sorry.
No, it's not equal to an abstention. It's not, because my husband volunteers with this organization.
Thank you. Councilman Griffith?
Aye.
Councilman Thompson?
Aye.
Council President Copeland?
Aye.
Thank you.
I have an ordinance authorizing the mayor to extend an agreement with Computer Adventures. So moved.
Second, on the question? Roll call.
Councilwoman Duarte?
Aye.
Councilwoman Farquharson?
Aye.
Councilman Griffith?
Aye.
Councilman Thompson?
Aye.
Council President Copeland?
Aye.
Thank you.
I have an ordinance authorizing a reallocation of funds within the youth bureau. So moved.
Second, on the question? Roll call.
Councilwoman Duarte?
Aye.
Councilwoman Farquharson?
Aye.
Councilman Griffith?
Aye.
Councilman Thompson?
Aye.
Council President Copeland?
Aye.
Thank you.
Public safety and codes.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. I have an ordinance requesting permission to defund the position of Deputy Commissioner of Parking and fund the position of Deputy Police Commissioner of Special Initiative within the Department of Public Safety. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Roll call.
Councilwoman Duarte,
Aye.
Councilwoman Farkason,
Aye.
Councilman Griffith,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Copeland.
Aye.
Thank you.
I have an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an annual maintenance agreement with Business Electronics iRecord. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Roll call.
Councilwoman Duarte,
Aye.
Councilwoman Farkason,
Aye.
Councilman Griffith,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Copeland.
Aye.
Thank you.
I have an ordinance authorizing a transfer of funds from the City Council to the Animal Shelter Department of Public Safety. So moved.
Second.
On the question? Roll call.
Councilwoman Duarte,
Aye.
Councilwoman Farkason,
Aye.
Councilman Griffith,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
and Council President Copeland.
Nay.
Thank you.
Councilman Thompson, would you mind reading finance and planning?
Hold on one second. Let me pull it up. I'm sorry. Yes. I have an ordinance requesting permission to defund position of grants compliance specialist and add the position of grants and partnership compliance officer within the Department of Planning and Community Development. So move.
Second. On the question? Roll call.
Councilwoman Duarte,
Aye.
Councilwoman Farkason,
Aye.
Councilman Griffith,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
Council President Copeland.
Aye.
Thank you.
Is there any other business before the council? I would like to poll the council for your time schedules for next week. We have some proposals that are before us that I think we need to go over. So if you can call into the clerk your availability for next week, I would appreciate it. I'm looking possibly at a Wednesday afternoon meeting, but call the clerk with your availability. All right? With
How
that,
much time should we expect to allocate?
I would say maybe an hour. Maybe and a half.
I would like to state something for the record before we finish, if possible.
Yes, Councilman Thompson.
Yes, I would just like to say that it is imperative when we're voting, or speaking about our community, it's imperative that we fix our parks. It is important that we make sure that we pay our workers for work done, specifically our DPW workers and things of that nature. So, I want people to be mindful when we look at what's going on with our city council, because I was forwarded a video of something that was disturbing to me. And I just want to make sure that we make conscious decisions when we're looking for the betterment of our city, because it's important that we treat everyone fairly and everyone kind. That is all.
Echo that. Councilwoman Copeland, we wish you well in your recovery. If there's nothing else, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, please.
Second.
Second.
From Councilwoman Farquharson, thank you. Roll call on adjournment. Councilwoman Duarte.
Councilwoman Duarte, how say you think?
Aye.
Okay, Councilwoman Farquharson,
Aye.
Councilman Griffith,
Aye.
Councilman Thompson,
Aye.
and Council President Copeland.
Aye.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you, everybody. Sorry for
Thank
the.
you.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
We'll try to get better next time. Have a good one.
Good night.
Thank you, folks. Stay safe.